I went from struggling to draw a box to filling sketchbooks and creating immersive digital illustrations in 18 months. I didn't follow a course, I didn't grind through endless exercises, and I definitely did not rely on motivation. No, this transformation came from a series of small changes, tiny tweaks to my daily routine that compounded faster than I ever expected. And in this video, I'm walking through 7 of those changes. But I ask you to keep an open mind, because some of them will surprise you and some won't even seem related to drawing. But I promise that if you take them seriously, they will transform your life. Each one of these steps have their own little Notion page with my thoughts and recommendations. If you want to follow along or save one for later, links are in the description. Note that I call them steps because I implemented them one at a time. And I do recommend you do the same. I spent 1 to 2 weeks on a single one, making sure it became easy to do before adding the next one on top. Because if you throw oil on a fire all at once, it puts the flame out. But if you add it slowly, it makes the fire grow stronger and stronger. Slow is steady, steady is fast. Let's go. Step 1 is to always be in flight. What do I mean by that? The biggest killer of momentum for us creatives is sitting down to create something and not knowing where to start. The second biggest threat is constantly jumping from project to project every time a new exciting idea comes. So I made a simple set of rules that solves both problems. I always have an in-flight project. I cannot start a new one until the current one is done, and I never allow more than 2 projects at once. One is usually an experimental sketchbook. It has a goal or a theme or a question that I'm trying to answer. I link a video where I go deeper into that. The second is a proper work-in-progress illustration, something slow, layered, that I can chip away over time. That's it. I don't do exercises, I don't do random one-off drawings. I just show up and work on one of the 2 that are in flight. Having 2 is ideal because when one ends, I don't get stuck in the void of what do I do now. I still have the other one, so I can keep moving while I figure out what comes next for that one. And it also helps with rhythm. In the morning, I do the experiment sketchbook. In the evening, I do the illustration. This way I don't have to choose. I can just start. Step 2 is what allows me to make these in-flight projects not only achievable, but also insanely impactful on my rate of progress. And that's to think in versions, not in final forms. What do I mean by thinking in versions? I used to think that every idea had to be polished, complete, the best I could possibly do. But my eyes were trained on a level of quality that my hands cannot reach yet. And that gap between what you want to create and what you're currently capable of is what causes the feelings that get you stuck. For some people it's sadness or helplessness. For me it was anger, bitterness. And the brain remembers that. It starts labeling that thing that you love doing as something that you should avoid. And suddenly the act of drawing triggers a flight response. It's a survival mechanism. It's scientific. And therefore it can be understood and it can be fixed. Introducing this concept of versions helps you fix it. Any idea you have, no matter how big, can be made in 1 year, 1 month, or 1 week. There's even a version of it that can be made in 1 day. And I don't mean a part of it, the whole thing, just a different version. For example, let's say that you want to make your own comic. The default reaction is to imagine an entire world, with your own original characters, a full story arc with dramatic panels and color illustrations that draw you inside that world, and it becomes this massive, awesome thing that you will probably never make. But what if you try to tell that story in a 10-page one-shot manga? What if you borrow an existing plot and just twisted a few elements to make it fit your idea? What if you used existing characters so that you didn't have to design your own? What if the line art was loose and storyboard style, just enough to deliver the narrative? These are all versions of the same thing. And it's not a compromise, it's a strategy. Thinking this way changed everything for me. It shifted my focus away from what I cannot do and towards all the ways that I can make something exist now. Plus, it made me discover that I don't need the most polished, complex version of an idea in order to feel fulfilled. What I enjoy is making it happen. Any version that exists feels better than one that lives only in my head. And the beauty of it is that with every version that you complete, your skills skyrocket. So in the next project, you can achieve a more complex version of your idea faster. Okay, now that you're working on specific projects and thinking in versions, you need a system to feed those projects. That's why the next step is to capture ideas the moment they hit. Your brain is like a leaky bucket. Ideas pour out constantly, and unless you catch them instantly, they're gone forever. And when I say capture, I mean write them down. Not voice memos, not mental notes. Writing. It forces you to shape the idea, because the act of writing is the thinking. A note on your phone, pen and paper, or even a sticky note if that's what's near. The only rule is don't wait. Since I started making YouTube videos, a lot of my ideas have been revolving around storytelling, like cool shots I want to try or metaphors to make a point hit harder. But I do also get ideas for my own original characters, for my world-building project, or for my sketchbook experiments, as well as business ideas and stuff I can launch. Don't judge your ideas, don't try to organize them, just catch them. Because the simple act of writing them down crystallizes the thought. It makes it clear, and it often sparks a second idea right behind it. It keeps your creativity firing on all cylinders, even when you're not actively trying. It's a beautiful way to live. The next step is to take photography seriously. What does this have to do with drawing? Quite a lot, actually. Because once you get deep enough into visual arts, you realize that technique is not what separates great work from average work. Composition and lighting is where 90% is determined. Across every style, every medium, from illustration to animation and film. It's why I start all my artworks with thumbnails of value composition. And guess what? Street photography is one of the fastest ways to train these. It forces you to see the world around you differently. I'm constantly looking for how shapes line up, how light slices through shadows, scanning for contrasts, geometry and rhythm. It's beautifully entertaining. And I'm still a complete beginner. The masters of this craft are able to find beautiful compositions that also captures entire stories into a single frame. This practice trains your eye on so many levels and it will truly elevate your art. But that's why it's actually dangerous if you skip step 2. Because the gap between what you can see and what your hands can do will grow faster. And out of frustration, you risk giving up on drawing altogether. So do step 2 first. Last thing about street photography is that it's just calming. It gets me outside, it slows me down. It feels both productive and healing at the same time. It's beautiful. My favorite photography YouTuber is Theo Crawford. I highly recommend checking him out. His eye for composition is satisfying, his tips are accessible, and his voice is ridiculously soothing.
This shoot was going to be outdoors, and ideally I wanted to shoot in the rain.
Step 5 is to balance creation versus consumption, just like an athlete would balance eating versus exercising. This one hit me hard when I realized how much time I was spending watching other people's making things instead of making things myself. It's basically like eating all day without getting out of the house. So I borrowed this approach from fitness. Track your calories in versus calories out, but with media. I know that I need about 3,000 calories to maintain my current body composition with my current activity levels. I can measure that. So I try to eat such that I don't fall too far from it on either direction. And after just a week or 2 of tracking, I don't even need to check it anymore. I can sort of guess the calories on a plate just by looking at it. And same goes for content. Your phone can already track screen time across all devices, and you can see how much of it is entertainment. That's all creative input. Calories in. So try to balance it out with some creation. Writing, drawing, filming, editing. These are all creative outputs. Calories out. At the beginning it will feel impossible. I mean, look at this, 4 hours of watching YouTube videos on Sunday. But that's okay. Just the awareness of this concept will change you. You're going to create more, but you're also going to start consuming content more intentionally. And just like with calories, eventually you will not even need to count anymore. You will develop a gut instinct. You feel when you've consumed too much and created too little, and you become able to self-regulate. I highly recommend taking this one seriously. Step 6 helps you a lot in consuming more intentionally, because it forces you to change seats and consume as a creator, not as a fan. It's not just how much you consume, it's how you consume. Try this. The next post that you scroll by, whatever it is, imagine that you did it. How did you do it? If it's a picture, where did you place the camera? How would it have changed if you tilted it differently? If it's a movie, notice how the subjects are lit. And imagine it's you on the set. What lights did you use and where did you place them? How did you get that orange and teal look? And you can do this with everything. Now, when I consume a piece of media, whatever it is, I imagine doing it. I change it, I test it in my mind and I observe. In a sense, this makes consumption become a form of creation. But another cool effect of this is that you're going to really enjoy doing this when the content is quality. When the content is average, it becomes boring pretty quickly. And the result is that you're going to consume less, because you realize how 80% of what you used to consume is average quality content that might have been entertaining as a fan, but is quite boring as a creator. So yeah, try this one out, it's pretty cool. Step 7 is really just a series of principles to apply to how you design your day. And it's what allows you to have potentially zero discipline and still stick to a drawing schedule. I break it down in detail in this video here, along with examples and everything you need to try it out on your own. I'll see you there. Cut.